This demonstration covers the power sanders, the disc sander and the belt sander. Now I've actually got three big sanders in the shop, and the other one is called a drum sander. It's a large tube of sandpaper that spins around while it goes up and down, and that's located directly over there against the wall. Now the reason I don't really focus on that one is because the chances of you hurting yourself on that are much, much less than these two. Specifically the disc sander. Most of the accidents I've ever seen on a power sander machine has been on a disc sander. So I like to focus on that one most. Now this machine, as you can see, this got two sanders in one machine. You hit on and they both turn on. I don't mind if I have one person using the disc sander and one person using the belt sander at the same time. But I don't want to see multiple people around one sander trying to get in there. That's when danger happens. That's when an accident could happen. On all of these sanders, you need to hold the board the same way. I just don't want your fingers under the board while you're cutting, trying to do it freehand. So the board has to be flat on the table, fingers on top, and if you're moving it around left and right, try to make sure your fingers don't wrap around the end. The most common accident is when you're rounding an edge, somebody's coming around and your finger touches that disc, and you lose a few layers of skin on your knuckle. Now, I have seen much worse accidents when they get this way and their finger gets sucked down between this and the table, and that's when you actually lose fingernails. So be very careful to keep your fingers on top of the board. Now, my backhand, of course, is on back. That's fine. That's helping me move it. I just don't want you to turn into it. Now, the disc sander, there's an arrow on top that points that way. It means it spins this direction. Now, the side of the disc that you want to use is the left side. Now, at my home, I have a disc sander that spins the other way, so I'd be sanding on this side. So on the test, you need an answer that's correct all of the time. And the answer of which side of the disc do I sand on, it's always the downward side of the disc. The disc, part of the disc that's going down on this table. If I'm sanding here, all the sawdust goes down as well and gets sucked out through the tube. If I'm sanding on this side, it's going up. First of all, it's easy to lose my grip because it's always wanting to lift the board up off of there. Even if I keep a hold, it's wanting to do this as it goes, and I will end up pinching my fingers. But all the sawdust is coming up in your face, and I have seen these flip up in the air almost to the ceiling before. So make sure that you are sanding on this side of the disc. The table keeps it from going anywhere. So I can even let go of it, and it's not going to go anywhere. It doesn't shoot anywhere across the shop. So always on the downward side of the disc. The belt sander only goes this way, and so anywhere on there is correct. Anywhere on this belt is fine. You can use the whole thing. The disc and belt sander sand the same areas. On the test, there's a question about what areas does the belt sander sand? What areas does the disc sander sand? And the answer is the same. They both sand outside corners, they'll round them, and anything flat, a flat edge or a flat end. Okay? Outside corners and flat edges or ends, and that's it. The only one that does an inside corner is that drum sander that's located against the wall. So that's the only one that'll do it. So these two sand the same areas. If you sand in one spot, you can see the result. Now I left this disc on here on purpose because it does have a burn on it. If I sand in one spot and just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, the heat that is generated from all that friction creates a burn. And once the disc is burned, the grit is pretty much gone. It won't work anymore. So if I sand in that area, it's just going to give me a burn. Same on this. I want to be able to move it around just a little bit so it doesn't burn, or at least don't push so hard that it creates a burn. So let me show you what that looks like. Now I don't have the fan running, so you may see some sawdust pop out a little bit. But if I sand on the burn itself, you can see the corner gives me a burn, and the whole thing would look that way if I continued going in that area. So if you sand on a burn, it does take a little bit, just a little bit off, but it just smells. I can smell the smoke. It smells terrible, and that doesn't look good. And I have to actually sand that out later because I don't want the burn. While you're sanding, try to use the whole area. You want to move it a little bit left and right here and here as you're sanding, kind of for the same reason as the previous question. Even if I'm not pushing hard enough to burn it, I don't want to put a lot of wear and tear on the belt or the disc. So while you're sanding, try to use more of the disc or the belt sander. A little bit left, a little bit right as you're going to even that out, even that wear and tear out. And the last thing is, what if I have an odd shape? Well, an odd shape meaning what if I have to cut out, say, like a push stick for the table saw, I have to cut that out, and then there's a hole right there. That's an odd shape. Let's say I want to cut that out. Now, I have actually seen students that come, and they, of course, have to get rid of all of this stuff. This is all scrap, and, of course, down here. They draw this out, they come immediately to the sander, and they start sanding away, little by little, getting in here. And by the time they're done, they've taken all period long. My disc is burned or worn out completely. There's a big cloud of sawdust all around on this side of the shop. It's just as simple as, guys, cut it out, usually on the bandsaw first. Cut away about 1/8 of an inch to the line, cut this out, and then come to the sander. And that'll save you a lot of time. It saves my disc and the belt from wearing out too fast. And it's just the correct way to do it. Cut it out first, and then come to the sander. I just don't want anyone standing here all period long, just wasting time sanding away, and you're just wasting my disc, wasting the belts. So make sure that when you're sanding, your fingers are on top. Fingers are always on top, not wrapped around the sides, unless it's the outside. My left hand doesn't even get close to that. And on this one, I also left this belt on. You can see a tear right here. And I left that on so you can kind of see what it looks like. Now, when you come to use it, of course, that'll be gone. But if you see any kind of rip or tear, a bunch of burns on here, let me know. I either need to replace this, and this does need to be replaced, or I need to clean it. Now, I have a little rubber stick that is made for sanders, and if I stick it in here and sand it, it removes all of the extra sandpaper from the grit. So it makes it last a lot longer. You just need to let me know. But any tears, if I hit that just right, it could shred the belt, and then pieces go flying. So once safety is done, I'll get this replaced, so you make sure to have a good belt and a good disc to use. So use these carefully. Don't ever push too hard, and take your time, and you'll get a good edge every single time.